So here is the empty container garden. We're going to be potting this up and seeing how pretty we can make this area. It's right off of my back porch, so we like it to be close to us and beautiful. But the main greens that I have planted up is this Japanese maple here. It's just exquisite. And then I have another bloodgood here, and then another Japanese maple back in the corner. The clematis is growing into that right now. Let me show you what that looks like. Oh, and I did do that on purpose. I just thought it'd be such a gorgeous combination. Look at that. This clematis is the Dr. Rupel, and it is starting to open. And each flower is just huge. And eventually this whole area will be full of flowers. So this area has a crepe myrtle, a Natchez crepe myrtle right in the middle, which is white. So that kind of helps. I can kind of add a lot of pops of color up in here. So anyway, we're going to get that going and show you the final product. Thanks for joining us today. Guys, so I do just use regular Miracle-Gro potting mix for my containers. I do use a long-term fertilizer, so typically what I try to use if I have it is this worm castings that I get from Costco. They always have this in the spring, and if I can grab a hold of it, I usually get like 2 or 3, and they do last me all year. But if I don't have any earth castings, I use this, the rose tone, which I have a lot of roses in my containers, so it works perfectly for roses or flowers. So I also use this on my clematis, just FYI. But on a weekly basis, I do use the bloom booster, and I find it really works well. This is the brand I like. So I do scoop out a lot of the dirt, especially if there's any bugs. I usually just dump it all and then mix in the new dirt with the rose tone, or like I said, I use the earthworm casting. So Alright guys, so here's the final product, and I will just go through each pot. Most of them have annuals in them, but I do, like I said, I overwinter a lot of greens and trees and evergreens like this Japanese maple, bloodgood maple, another Japanese maple, and then I have a double play doozy here, and then a couple of roses. This is a Belinda's Dream. She's about to bloom out. And then this is a Moonlight in Paris, and it has buds all over it as well. So let me start over here. And when I am trying new things, I just leave the label in there so that if they do well, I will do them again next year. But this bed is part sun, part shade. It does get a lot of afternoon sun, I think I said earlier, over here. So I need to be careful what I plant in a few of these, and that is why I can get away with roses, although they are looking pretty sad right now. But they're getting enough sun because they're full of blooms, but I did not trim them up well enough in the past, and that is what's going on down here. So next year I need to cut these down even further. I thought I cut them down enough, but I obviously didn't. Okay, so anyway, starting here, this is Pilea, and it is looks like it is supposed to be a annual. So we'll leave that in. Sometimes I can overwinter these out here if I'm careful, but mostly we can bring them into the greenhouse now. This is that, I love this fern. I tend to get this one every year, this plumosa fern. I love the soft, delicate. Hi, Lucy. Okay, and this one is white-edged Swedish ivy. This one grows pretty fast. I had it last year, but it's an annual as well. But I don't always need flowers. I do love to just mix some textures and keep it green. When this fills out, it's going to be beautiful. So obviously I love dragonwing begonias, so I have about 3 of them in this particular garden. I love the way they start to drape over the pots. Impatiens under this bloodgood, just gorgeous. And the Japanese maples, these get dappled sun throughout the day. They again are in the shade of this crepe myrtle up here. Okay, so bits and pieces on this side will get afternoon sun, but it has done really well. These Japanese maples have been in these pots for probably going on about 7 years now. They do beautifully. This one, we decided to plant this in the ground. I'm not sure why we made that decision, but anyways, they are doing great in pots. So if you ever wondered if Japanese maples can handle containers, the answer is yes, because there you go. And I have these pots, just so you know, this is not a real patina, and this is instant patina that I do with cornstarch. And I do have a video to show you. Within 10 minutes they look like this, and this will last all year. In fact, it just starts to look more natural, so I'll put the link to that. The drip marks are from just watering it, but the more it rains and the more I water, the cooler the patina looks. So it's not that yogurt trick that takes so long, and this to me looks so natural. So anyways, over here, same again, dragonweed begonia, impatient, some creeping jenny. I've got some lemon thyme in here. I think I said in some my other videos, I love to use herbs throughout my landscape and potting gardens just to make them useful. All right, and then over here is Persian shield. Oh my gosh, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? And then I've got some variegated ajuga back here. And then in with the Belinda's Dream is just some creeping jenny, some more impatiens here, hosta. And I should clarify, in my area, impatiens need shade. They cannot handle the North Texas heat. So the way this garden is shaded by the crepe myrtle in the summer, these should be safe. So all of these should be kind of in the shadow of this fountain. So this is all going to be shaded here. Ajugas also need shade. The Persian shield is partial shade, so I think it might get some dappled shade. This hosta will be in full shade, and as I said, these roses will get sun to part sun, and the thyme will mostly get late afternoon sun. So that should be intense enough to let that last. But most of these are going to get speckled sun, the ones on the interior, so that should be safe. I may lose these impatiens when the heat hits in the summer. That happens a lot. If that does happen, I will probably pull them out and put either pentas or vincas, which I am growing by seed right now, so I will have them ready to go. And then again, the double plate doozy. So over here I have I finally pulled my leopard plant back out. I love this guy, but he does need to be overwintered. He can't handle being outside in the winter. In this bed, I have some impatiens back there, and then this is mint, so I keep it in the pot. It does grow over the front, and it tries to root up here, but I just pull it up. So eventually, I think we're talking about getting like a little fountain to put on this wall. I think that would be gorge. But I did not cut my holly ferns back, and look how big they are. Is that glorious? I do need to go in though and dig up some of the older and dead growth underneath. So over here, right off the porch, we've got an asparagus fern, another dragonweed begonia, and just my beautiful Japanese maple with impatiens underplanted. So all of these are hooked up to drip. So depending upon their needs, if they need daily water, they're actually hooked up to my hose drip. And if they need less frequent water, they're hooked up to our sprinkler system as a drip. But we also have our water fountain hooked up to drip. Let me show you. This right here is hooked up. So when the hose goes off to water like my annuals that need daily water, it fills this fountain, because this fountain does evaporate in the Texas heat. So we try to be as maintenance free as possible. Makes life easy, makes gardening easy. So that's my goal. Anyways, I do want to point out my cute little garden shirts. I have a lot of them and I'll be wearing them. My daughter has a cute little Etsy shop. So I'll be sure to put the link below in case you want to get one. I should also mention she's a teacher. I don't know, I just thought you might be interested. Again, I will end looking at the beautiful clematis as it starts to open up. As always, guys, thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you in the next one. Have a great day.